Okay, so this is what I did for my shocks. I know that Summit Racing isn't the place most people look for shocks for Samurais probably, but I got these Summit brand drag racing shocks. They're fairly cheap. They're $41.99 a piece, and they're three-way adjustable. The reason I got these is because they have like the skinniest body that I've ever seen so far. I've spent a few hours looking for shocks. And you can see the original, this is a factory one. It was hitting that mounting point for the bump stop. It was also hitting that plate that holds the spring on. So these have about 3 inches more travel, and the way that they're going to be mounted, it's going to have about an inch and a half either on both sides compared to how these were mounted. These go from about 21.7 extended to 12.8 compressed. And there's a few other sizes that they have that are close to this, and they all have pretty good travel actually. Like the settings is like a 50-50 setting, and a 60-40 setting, and a 70-30 setting. That's like bound versus rebound pretty much. The first number is how hard it is to compress, and the other one is how hard it is for it to extend. These, they feel alright. I didn't buy them because I thought they were the best shocks. I just bought them because they're fairly cheap and they have a skinny body, so that way they won't hit the frame. Okay, that's how it compares to the stock one extended. And you already seen how it was compressed. I hope they work. I don't know if this is good to run on the street or not. I mean, I'm just going to leave mine at 50-50 setting and just see how that works. I'm pretty sure it's going to be better than having this type of shock that's just, that has all the oil leaking out and it really doesn't do anything. Alright, so let's go put them on real quick. Real quick, before I ordered my shocks, I did go out to the local park and try to flex my Samurai out as best I could. I'm pretty much limited to what I can do with the stock shock towers, so I just picked the best shocks and they barely have enough travel. I know that everybody's shock situation is different, especially when you're dealing with aftermarket lifts and all this type of stuff. But I just wanted to show somebody a possible option in case they were in a situation like me and they just needed a skinnier like main tube on the shock. Mine has a stud mounted to the top of the axle tube, and then I'm using the stock shock towers. Okay, to install a shock like this, it's pretty much straightforward. Just stick the stud through the top, put the nut on, then grab the shock and compress it and stick the loop around the stud. Then go ahead and install the appropriate washers and go ahead and tighten the bottom nut. I'm not sure what the torque spec's supposed to be, but go ahead and just tighten it up pretty good so it won't come off. Then go back and tighten the top one. I'm not really sure how tight to tighten this one either, but I just squish the rubber a little bit to make sure it can't come off, and then that's about it. These shocks are installed with about 4.5 inches of up travel and about 4.5 inches of down travel, just kind of centered. You're kind of limited to what you can work with whenever you have such a short distance to mount it, and I want to keep everything cheap and simple, so I didn't want to put like aftermarket shock hoops and all that, but I might have to eventually. This suspension doesn't really flex very much. It's 3-inch trail gear springs, so I'm pretty sure I'll be okay. I will be doing some follow-up videos on how good my new shock setup works, or how bad it works. Anyway, one more thing. These springs, these shocks are Deutsch-Tech shocks. I mean, they're Summit brand, but they're actually made by Deutsch-Tech. That's what it says on the main tube. Well, that's the best I could do to flex it right now. That I don't really have anything safe to do this with. I'm telling you, that front suspension is way too stiff. But see, it still has 2 or 3 inches to go. And probably 2 or 3 inches to go on this one as well. If you found this video helpful or entertaining, please like and subscribe. The end.